it's in our live channel as well. Sorry. Just give me a second. Perfect. So today's verse is Shrimad Bhagavatam, second canto, first chapter, and verse number 16. Maharaj, if you're ready, should I start sharing the screen?
Verse number 16. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. Just give me a second. My volume seems to be very low. I might have to increase the volume. Thank you. That's brilliant. I can be able to hear now.
Verse 16.
Yes, Maharaj.
Sure. Can I see?
Yes.
Can I see verse 15 before you start?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, verse 16. Okay.
Let me just increase the font a little bit. Yeah.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Griha Pravrajito Dira. Punyatirtha Jalaputala. Sucho Vivikta Asino. Vidvihivat Kalpitasyane. One should leave home and practice self-control. In a sacred place, he should bathe regularly and sit down in a lonely place, duly sanctified. Purport: to prepare oneself for the better next life, one must get out of one's so-called home. The system of Varnashram Dharma, or Sanatan Dharma, prescribes retirement from family and governments as early as possible after one has passed 50 years of age. Modern civilization is based on family comforts, the highest standard of amenities, and therefore after retirement, everyone expects to live a very comfortable life in a well-furnished home, decorated with fine ladies and children, without any desire to get out of such a comfortable home. High government officers and ministers stick to their posts, their prized posts until death, and they neither dream nor desire to get out of homely comforts. Bound by such hallucinations, materialistic people prepare various plans for a still more comfortable life, but suddenly cruel death comes without mercy and takes away the great plan maker against his desire, forcing him to give up the present body for another body. Such a plan maker is thus forced to accept another body and one of the 8,400,000 species of life according to the fruits of work he has performed. In the next life, persons who are too much attached to family comforts are generally awarded lower species of life on account of sinful acts performed during a long duration of sinful life, and thus all the energy of human life is spoiled. In order to be saved from the danger of spoiling, don't move the thing. You move it, you have to move it without jerking it. In order to be saved from the danger of spoiling the human form of life and be attached to unreal things, one must take warning of death at the age of 15, if not earlier. The principle is that one should take it for granted that death warning is already there, even prior to the attainment of 50 years of age, and thus at any stage of life, one should prepare himself for a better next life. The system of a Sanatan Dharma institution is so made that the follower is trained for the better next life without any chance that the human life will be spoiled. The holy places all over the world are meant for the residential purposes of retired persons getting ready for a better next life. Intelligent persons must go there at the end of life, and for that matter, after 50 years of age, to live a life of spiritual regeneration for the sake of being freed from family attachment, which is considered to be the shackle of material life. One is recommended to quit home just to get rid of material attachment, because one who sticks to family life until death cannot get rid of material attachment. And as long as one is material attached, one cannot understand spiritual freedom. One should not, however, become complacent simply by leaving home or by creating another home at a holy place, either lawfully or unlawfully. Many persons leave home to go to such holy places, but due to the bad association, again become family men by illicit connection with the opposite sex. The illusionary energy of matter is so strong that one is apt to be under the illusion at every stage of life, even after quitting one's happy home. Therefore, therefore, to live apart from family life means to become self-controlled in regard to all sense desires, especially sex desire. The method is that one should have a duly sanctified sitting place made of straw, deerskin, and carpet, and thus sitting on it, one should chant the holy name of the Lord without offense, as prescribed above. The whole process is to drag the mind from material engagements and fix on the lotus feet of the Lord. This simple process alone will help one advance to the highest stage of spiritual success. Om Gyan Timidandasya Gyanajanasamaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya De Sitarine Panchakalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Paebacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Sukadev Goswami is very systematically explaining step by step how one is meant to live life in such a way that they prepare themselves for the next life. Here it's mentioned that life is more or less lived according to certain stages and standards. And those standards are already described within each of the stages. So just like in the beginning of life, one is learning and growing and associating and getting connected with the process of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master. As one enters into household life, one continues in the same way, but now one's responsibilities expand in taking care of the home. And of course, eventually, when children come, that also becomes a main responsibility for the grihastha. Still, she continues with her spiritual practices, following the instructions of the spiritual master. And then as the children become more and more grown up, and they become more and more independent in developing their own life, they move away from the home, and eventually they get married. Once the children are grown up and married, then household life really has no real, it doesn't have the same meaning that it did previously. And that means, as it says here, this stage of life is that one should retire from the comforts of household life, because if one remains attached to household life, even to the end of life, one is guaranteed to accept another material body to come back again and try to fulfill those desires for material comfort. It may not even be in a human form of life. It says here that one who lives in household life will eventually may also commit sinful activities and then degrade themselves to a lower species of life. So here, the Vedic system, the Varnashram system, is that one should retire from household life after all of responsibilities are taken care of. And then in that taken care of, then they move to getting away from all of the attachments that were there previously and focus once themselves 100% on executing devotional service. Here it's recommended that one goes to a holy place. This is called Vanaprast. There may also be that both the husband and the wife can also remain together in the holy place, in the Vanaprastha ashram, where there is no more physical contact in terms of sex desire or sex activity. The activity now focuses on both of them performing devotional service together. And as that stage develops, after a certain period of time, the husband breaks away from the wife. She stays into the holy place, finishes her life by serving the deity in the holy place, and this guarantees her success in attaining the spiritual world in the next life. The husband takes sannyas, or at least the renounced order of life, and spends his time either preaching Krishna consciousness or living in the holy place and serving the Supreme Lord in one of his transcendental forms as a deity. So this is the recommended, but in Western countries, we're not accustomed to that type of lifestyle. So we get attached to our homes, we get attached to the comforts that the home supplies. And therefore, we continue into that life even to the end of life. But then at the time of death, it becomes practically impossible to focus one mind on Krishna as long as one still has attachments for material life. So the whole process of bhakti and the whole purpose of human life is to progress through the different stages and come to the stage, the last part of life, is complete renunciation from all material activities, along with all material desires. And this is the Varnashram system, which is recommended for those who actually are progressive in spiritual life. Sometimes devotees get stuck. They like the household comforts. They're 70 years old and they're still hanging around the television, still socializing with family members and friends, thinking that this is still, I'm a devotee. But this type of activity will again force one to take another body at the end of life. Krishna is not so easy to remember at the time of death, and only when one prepares themselves for the time of death. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam, tam te ante kalevaram, tam tam vivaiti konteya sadata bhava bhavitaha. The time of death is actually what we call it the final examination, where all of life's desires and activities will be tested according to how much one has absorbed themselves in the process of devotional service. And one cannot surreptitiously or automatically think of Krishna at the time of death if one is not preparing during the life. It's not possible. Krishna will not even allow it. But those who live a life simply absorbed in Krishna consciousness in all aspects, whether family life, retired life, brahmachari lives, any of the ashrams, even if they fall short of remembering Krishna at the time of death, if they give themselves 100% to the process of devotional service, then Krishna will help to purify them at the time of death, and it makes it easier for them to attain the spiritual world. But here it's recommended that one it's like if you're going on a journey, you always think about what is the best way to travel. If the vehicle you're traveling in is maybe not working so good, then you may also consider, I might not make it, or if I do make it, I might have to be interrupted in so many ways in order to keep the vehicle going. So when we're going on a trip, we always plan everything very nicely. And that way we are more guaranteed to make the trip successful without any, what we say, lack in planning, which will cause one to, what we say, become diverted away from the goal by which we are trying to achieve. So Krishna consciousness is a very systematic program, stage by stage of life will run. Eventually, it says here after 50 years of age, but of course, we may also, there is some consideration for maybe some more years, depending on the situation. But this is generally the standard, which is recommended by the Vedic scheme, that one, after finishing all of one's responsibility in household life, one moves on, because attachment to family life is very strong. It's very strong. And it's not so easy to break that attachment. So therefore, the process is gradual, moving away from these things slowly, slowly, and then eventually complete renunciation towards the very end of life. And then one is in a good place to get the full mercy of the Lord and then achieve the success in achieving ultimately one's goal of life, which is tattva deham purna janmani naiti mameti surjana, to go back to the spiritual world where life is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss, which is actually the environment by which the soul can flourish. The soul cannot flourish in the material environment. The soul is struggling to live in the material environment because the material environment reinforces the whole bodily conception of life on all levels. But therefore, we simply do our best to practice Krishna consciousness in this, taking good association from devotees, hearing regularly Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the scripture by which one can understand how to progress from one stage of life to another, ultimately to the perfection of life. Krishna in Vrindavan and his intimate pastimes with his devotees, which is the goal of Krishna consciousness. And that is allowed, or you mean that is facilitated, as one renounces all of material attachments and focuses completely on the process of devotional service like that. So unfortunately, we see in our society, people are not so much enthusiastic to renounce family life. They think they can do it all the way to the end of life and still make it. That's a possibility, but it's rare because it's not recommended. Material attachments go so deep that one cannot even see or even become aware of how attached one is. Only when our attachments are taken away from us, then we can really see how we are really attached. That happens sometimes by situations or by some calamity in life where things are taken away by providence, by Krishna's arrangement to wake up the soul to its reality and get them out of the illusion that staying in material life and at the same time trying to practice Krishna consciousness does not really allow the soul to progress towards its goal of self-realization or God realization, Krishna consciousness. So very scientific process here. And of course, it's not necessary to take the sannyas order of life, although it is also allowed for those in the very later part of life, but a type of renunciation by which one gives up all for family responsibilities and focuses 100% on serving the Lord in devotion. And that is the goal of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada says you can't get back to the spiritual world unless you are cent free from all material attachments. As long as he said, even if there's a pinch of material attachment, that pinch will cause the soul again to enter into another body and again struggle for another life to somehow or other purify themselves from all desires. So don't waste time. It's not the process of saying, well, yeah, sometimes there is this philosophy, well, I can't make it in this life, that's all right, but I'll make it next life. You but the scriptures warn us that whatever blockage is causing us to be attached and not reaching the level of perfection in this life, it will also be there in your next life. You have to face it eventually and ultimately leave it behind. So better to do it now when you have that knowledge under your command. Don't wait for the next life. As Prabhupada says, there's no guarantee you're going to make it next life either. So better do it this life. And sometimes people think, well, yeah, there's so many lives. I'll just go on life after. Yeah, but then we see the example of King Nirga. King Nirga was a great king. He was a pious king. He was given in charity to Brahmins. He was very charitable disposed. He had many thousands and thousands of cows by which he would offer to Brahmins. He found great happiness in serving the Brahmins in that way. But he made some mistake in one offering to one Brahmin, and then that mistake caused him to make a mistake with another Brahmin, and that was what we say a mistake in the whole process of charitable, which caused him to take birth as a lizard for one life. So even though he was very expert at pious activities, he was not engaged fully in devotional service, but he was in the mode of goodness. Still, that little discretion caused him to again fall from the human form of life into a lower life. We see the example of Bart Maharaj. Bart Maharaj, he was on the platform of Bhava, which is just below the platform of Prema. And he was living in the forest. He left everything just to live in the forest and finish out his life and reach perfection. But what happened? He noticed one time there was a deer and she was just walking along. She was pregnant. And then a lion was in the area and it roared very loudly. The deer became fearful and jumped across the stream. When she did, she lost her life. And then the little fawn, the baby deer, was born when she jumped. And he saw this little baby deer now with no mother. So being soft-hearted, says the devotees by nature very soft-hearted, kind-hearted, he decided to take care of the deer. And he was doing that regularly. But what happened was he became fully absorbed in the deer and gave up his practice of spiritual life. And he was alone in the forest. There was no association. And so there was nobody there to wake him up to the fact that now he was becoming attached to a deer. And that cost him at the end of life. He thought of the deer. And at the end of life, he was forced to take two more births, one as a deer, and again, the next life as Jada Bharat, by which he remembered his deer life and very carefully lived a life free from all material attachments. And he was successful. But it took him three more lives, at least 3 lives, to actually reach success. But he was lucky. He was lucky in the sense that he had performed devotional service so strongly, but still, here's how powerful material desires are. Arjuna, pure devotee, in the association with Krishna, he becomes overly attached to family personality. He can't fight. He even criticizes Krishna for forcing him to fight. He says to Krishna, when you fight, you kill demons, you're asking me to kill family members. And Krishna is just smiling. because he knew that as a Kshatriya, and of course they were avaricious, they were atavanya, that means that they were aggressors. They were meant to be killed by Krishna's plan to establish the Pandavas on the throne as the world leaders and rid the world of this Duryodhana, who was avaricious and also very sinful. But Arjuna had so many reasons why he couldn't fight. Finally, when Krishna said, all right, you're done giving your excuses, now time to take some instructions. And then he listened, and Krishna then spoke the whole Bhagavad Gita. And after speaking the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna came back to his real consciousness, and he was now ready to act on Krishna's instructions. He says, now I am a soul surrender unto you. Please guide me. Whatever you say becomes my focus. And because he did that, he was glorious and ultimately achieved the perfection of life. Krishna was using Arjuna just to teach the whole world that the instructions of the spiritual master coming through, of course, the bona fide spiritual master is the success of one's practice of devotional service. We cannot find success simply by our own mental speculations on how to practice devotional service. Everything must be carefully understood and clearly understood, not just understood, but clearly understood by hearing from, and if required, questioning the instructions of the spiritual master. And for those who are really intelligent, they should remember from time to time, approach their spiritual master and say, Guru Maharaj, how can I, this is my situation, how can I make more advancement in Krishna consciousness? And the spiritual master becomes delighted when he hears such inquisitiveness, and he is very inspired to guide that person farther. Well, that's one who is very serious in Krishna. And we should be serious. This material world will force us to act wrongly or think wrongly and consider that there is some happiness in this material world. And if we just somehow or other plan accordingly, we can find that happiness. But then again, that happiness leads us away from the real happiness, which is the soul's nature to experience unlimited happiness in relationship to Krishna in devotional service. Devotional service is Krishna's internal energy by which he bestows upon the living entities in the form of his internal energy, Srimati Radharani. She is the manifestation of the internal energy of the Lord, by which she gives the blessings of the aspiring sadhaka who's engaged in devotional service. If they take the mercy of Radharani and engage it in devotional service, that mercy will attract Krishna and then by attracting Krishna, then one becomes fixed in their relationship with Krishna. The devotional service, in one sense, is non-different than Krishna and definitely non-different than Radharani. So that element is very rare and very not hard to practice, but it requires attention. Material life will divert your attention. This. So if we keep our attention, and the best way to keep our attention or to fortify our attention so it doesn't get diverted is to very carefully chant our 16 rounds every day as early as possible, and then practice Krishna consciousness throughout the day. Those early rounds in japa are very fundamental in building our consciousness in Krishna and practicing devotional service throughout the day. I don't recommend that we wait till later on in the day to chant our rounds, because the chanting of the rounds is the strength we get to execute devotional service throughout the day. And of course, Srila Prabhupada would also say, If you haven't chanted your 16 rounds, you can at any time be overcome by the material energy. Just by fulfilling the desire of the spiritual master to complete our 16 rounds, then we become somewhat fixed and become protected from Maya's temptations. So therefore, it is recommended, Srila Prabhupada also recommended, although he didn't emphasize it, but he recommended it, that we chant early. And that is the process. Okay, so we can open it up now for questions.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for again such a good reminder that that we should detach ourselves from material life. And thank you for your last instruction. And that has kind of almost saved me, because I remember the first time I met you, and you gave me the instruction that you must do your at least minimum 8 rounds before 7 a.m. in the morning. And that has been really nice. It has definitely improved my sadhana. Thank you so much. So devotees, any question? Yes, sorry, Maharaj. Yes.
You can forget that instruction.
Do 16.
When I first met you, now you're more advanced now. So 16.
No, I'm trying to complete all my rounds as much as I can. Definitely not maybe 16, but yes, try definitely. So devotees, if you have any questions, comment, realization, please share, unmute yourself and ask. You can also type in the chat box. And just last thing, please also keep your cameras on if you can. Thank you. Yes, Amritanam Mataji, please go ahead.
Not put your cameras on if you can. Put them on. We want to see you out there. I know you're out there. This is a personal program. We like to see each other. That's Krishna consciousness is very personal. So unless your hair is up in curlers or you're half asleep, turn on your cameras. Disciples. Yes, yeah, you getting better. Okay, we still have a few more to go. Bhagya Shri, come on, I'm sure you can do it. You're always there in line with.
Maybe not sure if she's driving or something.
All right, we're getting better. We got 5, 10, 12 so far out of how many? 12 out of 20.
26, yeah.
50%. 13, now we got 50%. Now you have to keep them on now, not just put them on. Okay, very good. Now I can see all of you. You're smiling. That gives me more enthusiasm in my efforts to speak.
Jai, Jai. Very nice. Very, very nice. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, Amrit.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, thank you for this reminder of the practice of Varnashram again. So, I wanted to ask, when we go from so
your voice is not clear, Mataji. Just maybe closer to the mic. Thank you. No.
We're doing really good. Something happened.
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Guru
Now
Maharaj.
thank you.
Okay. So when we go from Grihasthashram to Vanaprasthashram, do we have to take permission from the family members to go to the Vanaprasthashram?
If the family members
Yeah,
if the family members are devotees, yes. But if the family members are not devotees, you think they're going to allow you that?
Never.
Yeah, so once I was in temple and the speaker said that if the family members are not in favor, then it's okay. You don't uh, formally go, and you just practice how you are doing.
Okay,
So
so you know the story of Sankaracharya. You know Sankaracharya, the famous monist, right? He's actually Lord Shiva come again as Sankaracharya. And Sankaracharya, when he was a young boy of 8 years old, he wanted to take sannyas at 8. His mother said no. And so he was thinking, what can I do to change my mother's mind? So he went swimming one day, and there was an alligator that came and it started to grab him. And then he said, oh, mother, mother, please give me permission to take sannyas. I'm dying. I'm dying. She said, yes, yes, son, you can have. And then all of a sudden the alligator floated away. That's a true story. The story of Madhvacharya. When Madhvacharya also wanted to take sannyas, his parents said, you cannot take sannyas, you're our only son. He said, all right, when you have another child, then they said, fine. And then they had a second child, another boy. And then he said, now I can go. They said, no. So then he just started leaving and walking away. His father and mother started to follow behind him. And at one point he stopped and they turned, and his father paid his obeisances to his son. And then Madhva said to him, this proves I am a sannyasi, because the father never pays the obeisances to a son, but he pays his obeisances to a sannyasi. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. And he left. So you can ask them, and if they say no, stick for a while and figure out ways for them to get them to say yes.
okay, keeping the buffer time. Yes. Okay.
The buffer time is there also.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you. Thanks. I think you're far from Varnashram, Amritanama, but Silpesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
You know the verse spoken in the 11th canto. Devarshi Putatma Nirnam Pratingnam Nakinkanarayan Rajam Sarvatma Yam Saranyam Tamo Tato Mukundan Gri Nasevayaivat. The one who surrenders their life fully to Mukunda, engages in devotional service, there's no more responsibilities materially, because all of the other material responsibilities are part of the creation by which Mukunda has created. Therefore, if you're serving Mukunda or the Supreme Lord, then all of these other responsibilities automatically become what we say completed. And then there's a list: responsibilities to the family, responsibilities to the sages, responsibilities to people in general, responsibilities to the demigods. When we come into this world, we have all of these responsibilities, and we must serve them in order to clear up the debt. The sages, they give us knowledge. People in general help us out in different ways. Family members are there. And then, of course, the demigods are providing us so many, and they provide heat, they provide rain, so many things that we need to live in this world. So we're all debtors. But one who takes shelter of Mukunda, engages in devotional service, there's no more debt. But if you don't, You have to pay back these responsibilities. That's why there's so many different forms of rituals, pujas, and various types of ways to respond to all of these deaths, such as giving in charity, serving family members, so many things. But Mukunda, he's the source of everything. Therefore, if you surrender to Mukunda fully, then all the debts are gone.
Yes, Brahman. And being grateful to Prabhupada, he showed us the easiest way to be to pay the in debt of all those. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Amrutana Mataji. Silpesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. For glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, do you think that ISKCON needs to be looking at maybe creating retirement facilities for Vanaprastha devotees to live together and serve?
In Mayapur, they started this project just recently. Maybe Sri Devi knows. It's called retirement homes now for devotees there. In Govardhan Eco Village, Radhanath Swami has also set up an ashram. It's called the Retirement Ashram. So yeah, it should be done, and there's certain leaders that are working to develop it, but obviously it's not developed enough. Vrindavan, the holy places, provide certain accommodations for people who want to come there and finish their life out and engage in devotional. It's not that you sit there and just do nothing. You still engage in service to the deities, to the devotees. But family responsibilities are now completed, and one can focus fully. That's that is Vanaprastha. So in our society, sometimes it's said that Vanaprastha is Kshetra Sannyas, going to a holy place, dedicating your life to serving the deity in that holy place and finishing out your life there, which is a good way to ensure that at the end of life you'll reach perfection. So that's there, but it's not done enough. Mayapur has started this huge project now to do that.
And Maharaj, you talk about this debt that we owe to our ancestors and the gods and so forth. So in my case, I would have to finish looking after my parents because they've looked after me until the end of their life, really, until I can think more about Vanaprastha. Is that correct?
That becomes a responsibility, but depends how you see things. Generally, we have examples that where devotees have not done that and then made arrangements for their family members to get all the care they need so they could leave. Usually, do you have any siblings?
Yes.
You push it on the siblings.
I'm very comfortable here, Maharaj. That's the problem.
Yeah, they say a comfortable bed is a cold grave. Comfort, there's no comfort in this material world. You can try to be comfortable, But ultimately, my material energy will destroy that comfort at one point. Death comes along and says, all right, it's all over. Your plans are finished. We don't want to be forced out of. We want to gradually move towards that last stage of life in a gracious way, in a proper way. So when we do reach it, it becomes natural. Because giving up one body can be, it says that it can be as easy as plucking a flower, or it could be as difficult as trying to stop a rolling armored tank. That's the comparisons made, depending on the consciousness of the living being.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. Thanks, Shilpesh Prabhu. Yes, Shridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Guru Maharaj, thank you so much for today's class, as well as the class that you gave on July 15. That purport is so to the point where Srila Prabhupada clearly explains that as devotees, we really do not have to worry about family because the Lord takes care of all the family members of a devotee. Since you gave that class, 75% of my anxiety has gone regarding my family. I've simply surrendered them all to Krishna and said, Krishna, it's your headache. Otherwise, day and night, I would be worrying what's going to happen to them, what birth they will get next, how can I bring them to Krishna consciousness? Should I send book? Should I send prasadam? Should I ask so and so to meet them? I will arrange for a birthday cake to like this. So much energy trying to do things for family members who don't care. So after that class, I am like 75-80% completely. Now and then it does come, but I go and read that purport and then I'm at peace.
Okay, good. I think this was the best part of the whole class. Everybody read that. What was the verse? Do you remember? It was.
Yes, it's right here, Guru Maharaj. It's right here in front of me. It's Srimad Bhagavatam 1:19:35, given by you on July 15. And I have titled that class, Beautiful Purport to Stop Worrying About Family. Because you said that in the class. Quit worrying about them. It's right here in my diary.
It's not in the translations in the purport. 1:19:35. Okay. So
1935.
yeah, 1:19:30. Make a note of that if you want.
1:19:35.
Okay, sorry, I opened the wrong one.
Example is Dhruva Maharaj. When Dhruva Maharaj was about to leave the world, the airship from Vaikuntha came to take him back to the spiritual world. Before he got in, he said, "What about my mother?" And they said, "Dhruva, just look to your left." And his mother was getting into another airship. Because of his power of devotion, she also got the mercy. So if you become a pure devotee, your family members get much spiritual benefit, where in their next life, they'll be born into a family of devotees. Even if they're demoniac, they will be born into a family of devotees and have an opportunity for devotional service. So yeah, it says here, the Lord gives special protection to family members who descend, even though such members are themselves non-devotees. Prahlad Maharaj was a great devotee, but his father, Hiranyakashipu, was a declared enemy and atheist. Despite all this, Hiranyakashipu was awarded salvation due to his being the father of Prahlad Maharaj. The Lord is so kind that he gives all protection to family members of his devotee, and thus the devotee has no need to bother about his family members, even if one leaves such family members aside to discharge devotional service. Yeah, it's clear. Krishna is grateful. Therefore, anyone who is dear to you becomes dear to Krishna because you have become dear to Krishna.
Thanks, Maharaj. I hope that answers your question, Mataji.
Rishabh.
Right. Vrishabh Prabhu, please, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Maharaj and Trivashnas, this is Stefan Novelist. I would like to have a question which is not about Vanaprastha. I hope that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So you were mentioning, Maharaj, so if we do not even, if there is like a circumstances, we are leaving the body, it's hard to remember Krishna because we dedicated our lives fully to Krishna consciousness, to the process. Krishna could remind us, could make arrangements to remind us.
Prabhupada said, somehow or other, if you've given your life to Krishna in devotional service, even if you forget and can't remember fully at the time of death, as Prabhupada said, Krishna will force himself into your consciousness. Said that.
So my question is that I was listening to the same point in Czech camp, and Bhagavad Dharma Prabhu from Slovenia. He was mentioning that we need to actually develop desire for Krishna during our Krishna consciousness life, because it can happen that even though we were active in Krishna consciousness the whole life, because we didn't actually endeavor to develop a desire for Krishna, Krishna will not impose himself unto us because we didn't actually develop the desire for him. Do you have any comment on this?
I missed part of your question. What's the essence, if you could sum it up again?
That Krishna will not remind us if we do not have a developed desire for him, even in that situation.
Well, you can't cheat. It's not like a cheating program. You have to be sincere. Krishna sees how sincere, how much that person really wants him. But these concessionary things come by way of sincerity, not by way of, they're not part of the process. Krishna can show special mercy to a soul if he wants to. And he does, but you can't expect that, I can do anything I want and then do a little devotional service and then I'll get special mercy at the time of death. It won't work.
Yeah, so the point was that even though we are practicing, we have to actually practice sincerely, as you said, Maharaj, to develop a desire for Krishna, not like just practice, just being an ISKCON and not doing much and not being active, not being sincere. So,
if you want to be successful in devotional service, you have to understand the goal and how to get there. Just saying Krishna is not enough. You have to show Krishna you really want him. By your surrender, by your devotion, by accepting his instructions over what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. You can have a mixed perception that, let me just survive in ISKCON somehow, but yeah, it's not about surviving. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. What's the name of this place I'm in?
Philharmonic. He was in this place.
What was it?
I know him.
What's the name of
Sankirtan.
What's the-
Sankirtan,
yeah.
but he was in
What's the name of this place?
Philharmonic. Srikvenica.
Sikrenica? Rishabh.
Yes, Maharaj.
Sikrenica.
Hey.
Villa Harmonia.
Philharmonia. Oh, where devotees plays.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He's right here. He's listening to you.
Wow. He's lucky. Haribo. You are same person in your house. Your house is successful. We are just preparing for Sangha. Ian is coming, so we're gonna do some Krishna conscious things together. I'm cooking, so hopefully nobody will get poisoned. Let's see. I will give to Dharma Prabhu to try first. If something happens.
Okay, take charge.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you. Devotees, any other comments, questions? You can maybe think for next 3-4 minutes more. By the time I'm just checking my question. So, Guru Maharaj, I have a question and comment on this. Just one comment is what Sridevi Mataji was saying about the responsibilities of the family members. So in our experience, like me and Vrindavan Dham, we have experienced that the Lord makes the arrangement when you have a desire to serve this mission of the spiritual master. When you have a desire to serve Krishna, then Krishna makes the arrangement for you to serve him, and all the responsibilities goes away slowly. So it's nice. And my question was, Guru Maharaj, that in the purport itself, Srila Prabhupada says that at the age of 50, one should take this ashram or ashram dharma. But many devotees, like I've seen that even if you're serving Krishna, you're serving a particular yatra, then even if wherever you are, you can serve there, being in that particular ashram. You don't have to leave, because this part and verse specifically says that you should go to the secluded place. So I'm assuming that it's not required.
I would think that would be done under the guidance of superior instructions. If to choose yourself would, you might choose, because the mind is always choosing what's favorable. I would say if your spiritual master is still on the planet, you should ask, and then get the answer and everything's clear. If he's not, then you can approach one senior godbrother of your spiritual master and also get advice. When it comes to scriptural injunctions and there is a consideration to not follow them or follow them, then that should be an instruction given.
That makes sense. Thank you. Thanks for clarifying. Any other last minute questions, devotees? Otherwise, yes, Sakshi Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Maharaj, like you said in the class, that if we have a strong attraction for something of this material world, then we have to come and take birth again. So what if we have a strong aversion for a person or maybe devotee or a non-devotee? So for that also we have to come and take birth again. And if yes, then what needs to be done to to change this type of consciousness towards
aversion and attachment are the same side. It's explained, it's like a coin with two sides. Then aversion is another form of attachment. So yeah, that also has to be clarified. And you can do that by making amends with the person or speaking to them, doing something to overcome this, what we say, tension between. Prabhupada, when he left the world, before he left the world, he started to apologize to everyone for speaking the way he did. Of course, he was entering into the mood of a humble Vaishnava, which he always was, but his idea was that, sometimes in the name of preaching, we speak strongly and we may also cause people to be offended. So he was apologizing for that. But if there is some discord, between yourself and others. Pray to Krishna or get advice how you can overcome that. Even if you can't speak to them, if it's so bad, then you just write a letter, just explaining how you want to apologize or to bring the relationship back to a more normal status. Do something.
Thank you, Maharaj. That's really helpful. Thank you. Should we not distance ourselves from that person?
In certain cases, you may have to. It depends on what the situation is. It depends. Depends on the person, depends on the situation.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
you need advice also. These kinds of situations require advice from others. One who knows the situation.
Thanks, Sakshi Mataji. Yes, Amrita Mataji, please go ahead.
So, Kumar, what Shakshi Mataji was just discussing right now, distancing, I think distancing can not always. I think we should. It is very important for us to forgive, and distancing cannot help in forgiveness.
This is based on Shakshi's question.
Yes.
Yeah, there's three things: forgive and forget, forgive and don't forget, and ameliorate, or try to ameliorate. You have three choices. Forgive and forget sometimes can cause you to fall back into the same problem again. Forgive and don't forget can cause you to become cautious not to fall back into that same situation again. At least you're forgiving, and that's the big part. And the other one is speak to the person and try to work out some friendly agreement through discussion. That's the only three choices you have. I like forgive and don't forget. That one I like. People offend us, and we also offend people sometimes. We have to also become, somewhat forgiving of others who offended us.
Hope that answers your question, Amrita Mataji and Sakshi Mataji. Thank you. Thanks. So Maharaj, we have almost 10 past or 7 past. Do you want to do a round of japa? Or yeah, okay, you bring mine. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, to doing one japa with you. It's just so nice. Very, very nice to do it with you. Thank you so much. And also for your time and association. It's amazing to see you. Thank you so much, devotees, for joining the call. And see you tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Thank you to all devotees. Thank you, Satyabhama.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
my
Krishna.
obeisances to Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, when are you coming to India?
I land in Delhi on the night of the 8th of September.
Okay.
But then I go from Delhi to Ujjain. After
Haribol! Welcome, Guru Maharaj.
After Ujjain, then I come to Bombay. So that will be in October.
Okay. We are coming to Ujjain, Guru Maharaj.
Oh yeah, you're coming to Ujjain. Yeah. You'll like the association there. It's really powerful. Really good. Sridevi, you can meet your well, you might say namesake. There's another Sri Devi who stays in Ujjain.
Really?
And she's just as crazy as you are.
That makes two of us.
Crazy for Krishna.
Yeah, yeah.
Hare
Both of them
Krishna.
know.
Yes, crazy
Both
for
of them
Krishna consciousness. Absolutely.
But crazy in the right way.
She must be crazy in the right way, Guru Maharaj, but not me. I'm still just crazy, that's all.
You should
Please
meet.
save me.
She's really nice. She's just like you, same personality. It's like I can't tell you apart. I guess the name Sri Devi has a certain connotation to it. Anyway, yeah, she's there. She has a wonderful husband, and she lives in the same compound with the devotees. They have a guest house. I hope she's there. She likes to travel. She's like you. She likes to travel also. But I think she'll be there for the festival, I think.
I'm so looking forward to this, Guru Maharaj. I mean, Bhakti Charu Maharaj made such a deep impression on me when he came to New Orleans. In one meeting, I just prayed, Guru Maharaj, please let me be your Shiksha disciple. And, with your permission, I got that shelter of Bhakti Charu Maharaj. And his disciples have been so kind to me, so wonderful to me here in Mayapur. So I feel very blessed that I'm getting this opportunity to go to Ujjain and celebrate both Vyasa Pujas.
Yeah, it's the devotees in Ujjain are really they're amazing. And everything
I
is,
really hope.
I think we're trying to get Rishi to come too. I think he's
Oh,
going.
wow. Powerhouse of Bhakti. Yes. If Rishabh comes, he'll light up the place. That's wonderful.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Our humble obeisances at your divine lotus feet, our only shelter in this material world.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol Shrimati.
Right.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Thank you.